So this is my I don't know, doodle board, audio doodle board for to go alongside my FMP proposal. And I guess the point of this is to try and, I guess, get ideas and propose questions as such, and I guess explain a bit my process and how I'm going to go about my process for the FMP. So, okay, what's some questions that I'd like to consider exploring? Probably, well, I'm not really sure. Basically, I don't really know. I don't really know, and I wanted to talk about my process because for me, I want it to come naturally, and the analogy that I I didn't come up with this necessarily, but I was speaking to Luke, my tutor, and me and him were talking about stuff, and he asked me because I was like, what inspires me or like encourages me to make art. It's a combination of both external media, or pop culture as such. Well, I wouldn't use the word pop culture, but external media, so like film, TV, music, literature, or I don't know. I mean, those obviously branch off into separate things. So yeah, but and I guess I'm gonna edit this, so it's a bit concise. Or I might not edit it. I don't know. I guess we'll see. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought. I was talking about my process. Oh yeah, I'm inspired by media, and then also alongside that, it's like my own personal like thinking, I guess. So I spend periods of time, I guess, just thinking about it, and then doing sketches sometimes, or maybe, well, I guess doing sketches, but in what medium those sketches are. It could be like obviously your classic sketches, your pen or your graphite or charcoal paint, pastel, whatever, or like musical sketches, or even these days, like written works, like screenplays and those kind of formats. But a sketch, by my definition, or a doodle as such, as this is the doodle board, is just like a quick, not, well, yeah, I guess like a not completed outcome, but the start of something. It's like the start of something, not the finished product. Well, it could be a finished product, I suppose, but I mean, but the way I think about it, it's not a finished product. It's it's the start of something. So yeah, and we were discussing. Well, I was talking about this, and he asked me what was an album I listened to, because I've been doing various projects and I haven't had a lot of time to think about. Well, no, I have had the. Well, no, I haven't really, because I've been thinking about other artistic things. So I actually haven't had the. When people say I haven't had the time, but like, yeah, you kind of do. But like, no, I actually haven't had the time. Because of work and various other things, like various other creative things I'm doing. Um, which I guess could link into this FMP. What are they? In some way. And he asked me what album I was, what some albums I'd listened to, because I haven't really done a lot of, other than listening to music, haven't watched any films or read anything really, or researched any artists recently. By recently, in the last 2 weeks. And the first thing that came to my head was Wet Leg. I think it's self-titled. It might not be self-titled. I mean, they've only done out one album, so it doesn't really matter. The Wet Leg album. And I really like it, and I think it is a good metaphor. Why I like it is a good metaphor for my general creative process, and what I enjoy and what I think is good. And you can tell when something's good, it's just a different feeling. Something can be interesting, but it might not, in terms of personal taste, when something's good. And because you look at it and you're like, wow, that's it impacts you emotionally. So first thing, emotionally, a lot of my art has to, I guess, come from emotions, which just sounds obvious, but that's an important driving factor, because emotions change, but they're the only thing. They're the only, that's you in that moment. You feel a certain way, and that's why I find long-term projects more interesting, because they show a breadth of a person's emotional state, or I guess emotional state, but all the emotions, right? So when I'm creating a project, I'll get back to Wet Leg in a second, but when I'm doing a project, I don't want to just the natural structural flow, or the structural flow that's imposed often with these kind of academic things, doesn't really conform to that ideology, or not even ideology. That's just how I naturally work. So, and it's just better. I mean, for me, it's just, I think it creates better art. I don't think following some guideline creates any good art, and I don't think. And getting to Wet Leg, which their music, so the artists, I can't remember their names, but they've been making music for ages. They've been, festivals, yada yada yada, but they hadn't really gained a lot of success. And before they started Wet Leg, which was before COVID in 2019, the main singer was doing a festival performance, and no one was listening to her, and she started crying on the stage and not really paid attention, and to her it was that was the tipping point, because this kind of thing had been, not crying on the stage, but this kind of reaction that had been happening for years. She dedicated her life to music. I mean, obviously young person, but still dedicated a lot of time and money and effort, and then nothing was coming out of it. So she decided to take a year out, and then to try at least one more year, and then, or something like that, and then work after that. Or maybe no, I think they did. She started working. She definitely, she started working. I think she took the year out, started working. Yeah, she took the year, still continued music, then started working, and then COVID happened. So obviously not really working, as in working in I can't remember. One of them did it in a flower place, and I can't remember what the other one worked. I don't know I can't remember which one worked where. But anyway, COVID, and her and her best friend, who are the two members of Wet Leg. I mean, they have like a performing, but like they are Wet Leg, and then they have like they have a drummer. One of the boyfriend is like the producer and the synth player, and I think plays guitar as well. And there's a bass player and there's guitar, but like they are Wet Leg. The other people are like, I don't know what you'd call it, but they are like the main Wet Leg people. They're like best friends. I think they live in the Isle of Wight. I'm not sure. And check still record. And over COVID or sometime around that time, they stayed over each other's house and like did film night and stuff. And then that's when they made Shades Long, which is their most famous song. And I had like a moment. I didn't even know it was a thing until recently. But their time in the public eye and like the hype had kind of passed by like now. But I just recently got into them because I watched their Glastonbury video came up on my recommended on YouTube, and then I researched more into them and stuff. And then randomly they just become ridiculously famous, playing Glastonbury. They won 2 Grammys, they won 2 Brit Awards, or 1 Brit, I think they won 2 Brit Awards and 2 Grammys. That's like, so from going from being crying on the stage because no one was listening to you to then being that popular and prolific, like Elton John, loads of artists being like, wow, this is some good stuff. And I think it's because of their, I think it's because of their music. Well, yeah, obviously it's because of their music, but like the way they, so it's, Shades Long is literally, it was just made as like a joke song, them on a Shades Long all day long, obviously. But it was, they were going through that time and they were just enjoying each other's company, having fun, and that ended up making a really good, catchy, just kind of cool song. And that's kind of, a better example is Angelica, which I think it's Shades Long is the second song. I think it's the third song on the album, and it's like this song about them going to a party and not enjoying it and then leaving, or something along those lines. Basically, just not enjoying going to a party and being like, I don't want to be here, like in your head. And it's like an upbeat song with those kind of lyrics. But like, the reason why it's good is not because of that. That's like, oh, that's interesting because it's an upbeat song, but they're actually not enjoying the party. That's not why it's interesting. Because I have a feeling if someone was like, I imagine someone's done this before, like, oh, let's make a song about going to a party, but like, it's actually going to be really upbeat. The song's going to be really upbeat, but I'm going to be like, I don't like this party, it's really rubbish. You know what I mean? Like, if someone said that and made that song would be shit. It'd be not a good song, it'd be rubbish, it wouldn't be Wet Leg. But the reason why that song is good and why it's popular, it's still on the radio now. I was in the car like 2 days ago and it's on the radio, and I was like, well, it's because it came from such a natural it came naturally. Like, that was their whole vibe. They didn't even think they were going to remotely be famous. Shades Long was literally a joke song. So this links to my art, or FMP, or art in general, me, multiple reasons. Firstly, for creative decision, like Angelica, like Wet Leg, they've helped me highlight, after my conversation with Luke earlier, that, I mean, this is something that I felt for a long time, but I haven't really put the line between the dots. But yeah, it needs to come from a real, natural, emotive place, and I can't force that. So yeah, so during this FMP, it's not gonna follow the guideline, like the way that I create. It's just not gonna follow that, because it's just not gonna. It just wouldn't create anything good, you know. I mean, this is my FMP that I'm talking about, so that's just my opinion, and I feel like it's I feel like it's true as well. Yeah. And then this goes into, so that's just my approach, I guess. That's one approach. And then secondly, like personally, I find it difficult to, like, the way, because of my process, how I like to research and naturally come to conclusions, or naturally be given ideas, and then think about it, and then talk about it with my friends, and then, like, it's a very natural process, and that's just how I, like, it's not just a creative decision, it's also, that's just how I would, that's just how I personally, that's just how I would go about it, like, as a person, that's just how I do things. So yeah, I'm not really sure if this, I think this is what I'm supposed to talk about, but in the PowerPoint slide thing, there were some questions, like, you have to propose some questions, and since I haven't really got any questions, I'll try and think of something. I mean, one thing that I have been thinking about is doing something again with Dune, but I haven't really read it. I finished the second book, I haven't read the third book yet, but using it as like a backdrop for inspiration, because just painting out of nothing is quite difficult. But I mean, and I've done it before, like, it's not like a new idea, and I want to, this year has, like, helped me in terms of thinking, like, having like a basis, a theme, or just like something to base something on, is an important and interesting thing, and that can be natural. Like, the whole Dune thing with the project Grids, Nets and Maps, that came because I was just reading Dune at the time, and it just, I thought about it. It took, like, longer than a lot of other people to, like, get started and have an idea, but when I had the idea, because of what I was doing at that time and what I was interested in at that time, then it came really naturally, and I had a good outcome. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe. So I guess the question that I will ask myself is, or the question will be something like, what is a way, I don't know, like, I don't even know. I actually don't know. I actually have no idea. And I feel like this has gone on for a long time. 18 minutes. Oh my goodness, that is far too long. Oh, I don't want to edit this as well. That's taken like 2 hours. Well, I feel like I'm not going to edit this, so I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, Lara. Hopefully this has been interesting. I mean, to be fair, a podcast that's 8 minutes long, that is, because, I mean, this is not a podcast by any means, but, like, if you think about it, listening to people talking, like, podcasts normally like 40 minutes, half an hour, so 8 minutes is nothing. If I saw a podcast that was 80 minutes, I'd be like, that is not a long podcast. I mean, this, again, not a podcast, but, like, people listen to people's voices for way longer than that, so I think this is perfectly justified. But yeah, um, what I would say is, what's some artists? Well, the only thing I've got right now is Wet Leg, and that's basically the basis of how I'm gonna like that ideology, which was already in my head, but hadn't pinned the dots together. That's kind of what I'm gonna. That's that. And I don't have enough time to do some whole visual thing, but I will do a little. I'll try a bloody mind map, because I did like that artist person who did the acid house from Brass Band that Luke recommended. What's the name? Let's have a look. That's good. Let's have another artist. Where is it? Messages, Teams. Sorry. Oh god, that was totally didn't just burp. Oh, I don't know where it is. Where has it gone? I was literally just looking at it. Activity? There we go. Okay, cool. Jeremy Deller. Yeah, Jeremy Deller. Not like literally the same thing, but I don't know. I don't even know. Like, I don't. This is the thing. Like, it just needs to be natural. And right now, I have not had enough time or thought energy to process an FMP mood board or whatever board, sound board. I mean, this is a soundboard, like some visual thing. So I have no idea what question. I need to think of a question. Let's think of a single question. I just want it to be good. This is the problem I have. I'm quite competitive, and when it comes to art, I always want to improve and one up myself, and like other people, I guess. Which I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing. I guess it's both a good and a bad thing, because I always end up like, yeah, I just want to do the best. And I guess it's a crutch of my ego, but it also is like, it's also because I really want to be someone who innovates and not just sits behind, becomes compliant with their creative outcome. That's not someone I want to be. So it's two things, really. The ego thing is more unfortunate. I don't know, it's just annoying, right? I mean, that's something I need to work on personally. Whereas the other thing, I think, is good. But yeah, I have no questions to propose, but some will come at some point, but not tonight. Not tonight. But this is a long Sam recording, so I'll finish up. Thank you for listening, and hope this wasn't too long. Good. Bye. Come on. Where's the button? There's the button. Bye.